What happens when the awareness leads? Mind will follow. First of all, before we understand what happens when the awareness leads, we need to understand what is awareness, what is consciousness, what is mind, what is ego, right? You already can see it has different titles. When I'm aware, am I conscious? Am I in my higher self? Am I in my gut self? All those titles for this different way of thinking or different way of being. At the same time, we have this understanding of when I'm in my mind. And my mind usually will reflect to ego, lower frequency, um, all kinds of hooks that keeps you busy with identifying what does it mean, right? So when we're talking about our awareness or consciousness or higher self, there's always right away you have kind of an expansion. Wow, yes, I want that. Yes, it feels good. Yes, that's amazing. And when we're talking about the mind, right away there's a contraction. No, I don't want to be there. No, why me? Why not me? And on and on and on. It takes time to understand when are you in the mind and when are you in the awareness. It takes research. It takes understanding. It takes life different situation that kind of throwing you to understand, no, you're here in your mind, right? So let's dive in and see what's the difference between one and the other and how to stay or how to navigate between those two, or how at least to survive or thrive in those situations when you are in a mind and when you are in your awareness or in your consciousness. So, as I worked with a lot of you through the 10-week intensive transformation through the conscious coaching, the one thing that we emphasize is to be conscious of what's happening, to be aware of the witness, to be aware of the awareness. When the witness comes in into any situation, you are blessed of seeing what's really happening. The awareness leads, you can see the situation clearly. There is no hooks into it. There is no story into it. You just see the situation exactly as is. There's no emotional charge to it. There's aha moment. Oh, that's what I've been doing. The mind, as I always say, it will create a story. The mind will create a story. It will create emotional charge. It will keep you busy with justifying, with fear, with doubt, with questioning, should I, shouldn't I, and blah, 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 blah. Before you know it, you are caught in this whirlpool of not knowing where. When you train your awareness or you train your consciousness, the more you train, the more you present. You can see the mind going into its whirlpool and you're always catching it earlier before it drags you out of the presence, right? So maybe in the beginning, when you started your evolving and transforming, you could see that the mind is busy, but you had no idea how to get out of it. You just knew life is not fair. I'm so great and amazing. This is what's been done to me. And now, because of the life circumstances, um, this is the outcome, right? You can see clearly it's the mind creating story. The awareness will step in and say, wait a minute, do you really want to live your life that way for the rest of your life? Is there another way? The awareness looking a way of how to take you out. But at the same time, the suffering is necessary to get yourself out. The suffering comes in big intensity, so you can start understanding and saying, no, enough. I don't want this anymore. I choose something else. That's when the awareness leads. That's when the awareness steps in. That's when the awareness is completely present. I recently had a clarification call with someone that I did not work with. They just reached out for a few minutes, and it was someone that was lost somebody, relationship ended, a dear family member passed away. And it was a permission of 2, 3 years of feeling abandoned, depressed, down, completely at the bottom that you can be. At the same time, awareness somehow led her to that call or to this understanding, to this moment where she could see that she is created her own trap. If those people are not in my life, therefore I give myself permission to be miserable, victimizing, and not living, but just suffering and blaming life, right? When she saw that with her nothing, 15 minutes of communication, that she's basically her giving her power away, that if those people are in my life, I'm happy, and if they're not in my life, I'm not happy, everything shifted. It was so fast that I myself was surprised how fast it was. Once the mind understands, the mind transforms. You see what I'm saying? And that was just 15 minutes of conversation, and everything shifted for this person who sat for years in victimhood and misery and just being run by the mind ping pong of poor me, why did it happen, not fair, sitting and waiting. The awareness came in and showed, this is what you've been doing. How much longer? That's what happens when the awareness step in. I made a few notes for this time, and I want to just, what is the character of the mind and what is the character of the awareness, right? So the mind is reacting, predicting, projecting, judging, negotiating, and replaying. You can see already in every situation when you are caught in that, you know clearly this is the mind. When something happens and you react immediately, you bring a story to it, why it should or shouldn't happen, you are in the mind. Predicting, it usually happens from fear. Something wants to protect you from the future. So the mind say, oh, if you do this, that's what happened. If you do that, this is might happen, right? Projecting you already created, for sure it's going to happen, I'm not doing that. Creating another story. Judging, right? Judging when things already happen and you go into this, I should have, should enough. When you're using the language of your parents very often that been used on you when you were a child, why you shouldn't be doing, this is the mind. Negotiating, if I'll if I'll do this, then that will not happen. For instance, okay, I'm going to eat this chocolate bar, but I'm going to work out for 3 hours after that, right? You're kind of giving yourself permission to do things that might not work for you, and then you're compensating yourself at the same time. You're negotiating maybe with the life circumstances. Maybe you're not in a happy relationship, but then you start negotiating with your mind. Well, yes, but it's better than being alone, right? Or you're stuck in a job that there's no future for you and you're bored and nothing's there, but you think, well, at least it's give me it, it has a paycheck, right? That's negotiating. Replaying, rehearsing. The mind loves replay and rehearse. Anything that happened, it happened for in that moment, at that time, for that long, and the mind still runs you, and it's still, oh, did you remember what they said? How could they say it? How could they not say it? This is what happened, but this is did not happen. This is all mind. So it's nice to know those loops. There's probably much, much, much more. And as soon as you're going to start witnessing that, you will be able to protect yourself from jumping into those traps because they're there. The only way to get out of them is getting to know them, getting to know where the mind takes over. Now let's look at awareness. What happens when awareness steps in? There is an observation, right? Observation. You just look at the situation. You just look. You're just noticing what's really happening. Meaning, if your mind is in a loop of creating stories, you observe and there's notification comes in that says, oh, I'm just noticing my mind creating a story. That's awareness. Pause. When you pass from the madness of the mind and you have that hiccup of just stopping all the roller coaster, that's the awareness. That's something stronger. That's the consciousness steps in and says, stop. Just stop right now. That's enough. It's responding, it's not reacting. And that's a big difference. When you are respond to someone, instead of reacting to someone or to any situation, you are in your awareness, right? A situation might happening and you want to react. I love it. I hate it. Why should they? Why should they not? Responding, it's when you clearly can really identify and describe what is really happening without the blame and shame of anybody else. That's responding. The awareness doesn't rush. Consciousness doesn't rush. Your mind might rush because it's always late. It always thinks it's late. It always thinks it's not enough time. The mind always keeps you in a hurry because when you're in a hurry, you are clearly caught in the loop and there's no way out. That's what happens. So, can you see the difference between the awareness quality or consciousness quality or God self quality or the mind? I'm great and amazing. I'm going to also touch on affirmation. I'm great and amazing. Life is working for me. Uh, life is amazing. Everybody love me. It's also the mind, but it's kind of the mind trying to, it's the beginning steps of the mind when you try to kind of give the mind, there's another message here. It's when you're reparenting your mind. If the mind is stuck in a very negative loop, I'm not worthy, I'm not deserving, and you basically tried everything, you can throw the other, you can throw the affirmation on top of that, but that's not necessarily going to resolve. It's going to give you a bit of an ease. That's not awareness, that's not consciousness. This is just the mind wearing its training wheels, trying to be something else, trying to hold on to something that's not gonna drown it and its own story. You see, it's okay to use it time to time, but it's important to resolve the story, because if the mind doesn't resolve the story, it will keep you busy, right? And that's what I've done with most of you through the 10-week extension, through the 10-week intensive transformation. It's when we looked at every situation and grabbed the mind out of the story and gave it some grounding and understanding that it's been in a loop that was helpless and hopeless, and taking yourself out and being aware, present, and conscious, right? It's an ongoing work. An ongoing work. Once you practice it, once you understand it, you become more aware. But the more you do it, the easier it becomes, to a point where at some point you already see, oh, I don't want to be there. It's the mind again taking over. But it's not going to be, oh, I don't believe it. Why have I spiraled down again? This is the mind. You spiral down, and now what happens? Now you're creating a story. So the mind trying to get the mind out of the mind with the mind, right? Awareness will not criticize. Awareness will notice. Awareness will be present. Awareness will pause. And awareness will choose something else. That's awareness, right? So I hope you can follow on that and follow the steps, because the best way is just to be present and practice it as much as you can. So what happens when awareness leads? There is more space between the trigger and the response. You feel less urgency. Decisions become simpler. Emotions wave past faster. You don't need to prove or defend as much. That's what happens when the awareness is there. You're aware of the mind. You're aware of what's happening. You don't let the mind take over because you already practice, you resolved your stories. Now just a habit of the mind, and the mind wearing its training wheels when it's learning to respond in a different way. Now the mind becoming obedient to the awareness. If before you were obedient to the mind and the mind create a story and you dive into it and you know that mind was leading because your emotions and you are all over the place. You're suffering emotionally and mentally and physically. That's when the mind taking place, right? But once the mind already, when you resolved your stories or you know and you're aware how to resolve your stories, and that's what we do in the 10-week intensive, now it's basically a much easier step for you. It's just one step up of training the mind now to be obedient to the awareness, to the consciousness. The wheel is shifting its direction, right? If before it was flowing with the mind, now it's flowing towards the awareness. So it's like a flip point. When this flip point happens, there's also a lot of things happening because the mind doesn't want to change. You don't want to change. What is the mind? The mind is the ego. What is the ego? The ego is everything that you've been raised. It's the way you have been composed by the society, by your parents, by your life situation. It's your ego. The ego, we have this very negative relationship with the ego because we think ego meaning reacting or being bad or being jealous, or they're all true, but ego is built, it's your character, your habits, your way of thinking that it built through as long as you've been here on earth. Some of it genetic because it just passed from generation to generation, and some that you have collected as you were growing and evolving. So when you connect to this consciousness or to this new way of being, to this awareness, it's like jumping into a whole new entity. It's like immigrating very fast into a new country, new language, new everything, new people, new way of behaving. So yes, there's going to be a resistance because past part of you will want to be who you used to be. Part of you will want to hold on to the way you used to be because the old you know very well. You've been the old you for all of your life. Not necessarily that it worked for you because that's why you have decided to change, right? And you started this process. But the old you at the same time doesn't want to change because it was so comfy and it's been doing you for as long as you are here. Now awareness comes in, consciousness comes in, all this self-development, self-discovery work, all of that comes in. The enlightenment, call it whatever you want, right? You want it. You want it with everything in you because you know there's much less suffering there. Because by now there's enough people out there who are talking about it much more openly and much more clearly. It's not anymore something out there that it's unreachable and you need to meditate 100 years in a cave and 10 lifetimes and on and on. It is achievable. Easy? No. But yes, it's achievable. So when you hear there is another way of being, you want to be there because suffering or being stuck in the mind just not worth it anymore. You can see that you are acting in a way that been programmed or inherited or whatever, right? Doesn't feel good. So awareness comes in and it tells you, listen, there's no need to work so hard anymore. And it tells the mind, there's no need to work so hard anymore. And working so hard, it means overthinking, overprotecting. It means fearing. Awareness shows you this is what you've been doing. Take a deep breath. You caught in a loop. and it is just a loop, and there is another way, and I'm going to take you there. The mind doesn't want to trust it because it's been in the mind and what is familiar and what is structure and what is predictable and what it knows forever. Forever. It's longing for a change and it's fearing the change at the same time. One of the biggest traps that I see all the time is when awareness steps in and awareness starts to lead, you constantly, guys, criticizing yourself when you sleep. And it's okay to sleep. It's okay when you're not in awareness all the time, when the mind steps in, when you kind of get the fear back again, or when you're experiencing fear, when you experience self-sabotage, or you're experiencing those old feelings again, you're thinking that you have failed and you're starting to give yourself the same language that you've been using before. And like I said before, this language mostly is the language that your parents have used, that you, or somewhere maybe in school, of just criticism, or friends, that is somewhere still stuck. If you're aware of the language that you're using with yourself, oh, I'm sleeping again. I'm spiraling down. Things are not working for me, right? If you're aware, I'm putting myself down instead of pulling myself up. What does the awareness does when you sleep down? The awareness, whenever you sleep down, then the awareness will be much more gentler, much more quieter, much more accommodating. The awareness, when you sleep down, the awareness or the consciousness will say, you see, you sleep down. That's okay. And as soon as you just noticing, but not bringing a story to it, just noticing, I slip down, I spiral back, I missed a step, I'm there again, just noticing without the story. Now you're in your consciousness. Now you're in your awareness. Now you're in your presence. See the difference? That's the difference when the awareness leads, even when you are spiraling down. Spiraling down, it's basically the mind revisiting the familiar. Spiraling down, just the mind somewhere, oh, let's check it out. I haven't been there in a while. And then the situation comes in and you kind of recreate same circumstances and react the same way. But if you're not going to feed the story, if you're not going to feed that emotional need to put yourself down again the way you've been doing forever, the mind will not create the stories anymore because it will see that it doesn't get your attention anymore. See how it works? But it takes from practice, practice, and practice. There's a lot of information right now out there about consciousness, about awareness, about higher self, the mind, the ego. More and more people talking about it. Most of it, it's lots of hard work, lots of presence. Being in a mind is also lots of hard work. It takes so much energy out of you. Feeling guilty, feeling regretful, attacking somebody, victimizing, it's tons of energy. Living in fear, it's enormous amount of energy draining. Training your mind to follow the awareness or to be with the awareness, train your awareness to be there for the mind, it's also lots of work. The question is where you're going to put your energy and where you're going to put your work in. You can put all your energy into the drainage of the energy, or you can put all your work and all of your energy into consciousness, into awareness, into presence. I know two people, and you probably heard of them too, Byron Kate and Eckhart Tolle, and there are two individuals that are out there on social media. For them, they're talking a lot about the awareness, and they have different approaches, how it happened to them when they stepped into pure awareness, pure love, pure consciousness. For both of those individuals, it wasn't through seeking the awareness or seeking peace. It was just happened to a place where the mind completely exercised all of the options of misery, all of the options of misery, depression, victimhood, and it played itself so hard to a point it's explored misery into so deeply where there was no more place to go. And that's when it collapsed and the awareness came through. You see what happens? We here doing something else. We are taking the mind away from this misery. We are training the mind. We're giving the mind the information thanks to those people who have done the work through their misery, and they shared so much about it. What is awareness? What is consciousness? What is mind? And there's a lot out there, like I mentioned before. So when you are in training, when you are doing masterclass, when you are doing a one-on-one, when you're doing whatever work you're doing, you are training the mind, you're bringing some new information, you're allowing yourself to look at things differently, and you're doing it through another person. Like here, I'm leading the class, and you're learning from whatever I learned, I'm sharing, right? And this is from getting the information from out there. Eventually, when the mind gets quiet and the awareness or consciousness fully steps in, the knowing and the aha moments going to happen without listening to other people. You will not be relying on wisdom of other people because something new will open up for you. The mind will get quiet. The mind is so busy, it doesn't let you be in this conscious space, in this expansive space of knowing all, because it's afraid. It's afraid of if I know that I'm not in danger. This is such a new information for the mind. So it's keeping you busy just so you can unlock it to this consciousness. You see, it's like almost trying to catch your own tail. But eventually you do, because you're realizing that you've been going round and round and round and round to a point where you say, okay, I'm done running. What's really happening here? This is one of the characters of the mind that repeating the same thing, running around the same thing, catching its own tail, wearing itself out. The mind needs to wear itself out before it moves to the next step, including satsang, meditation, affirmation, and all the stuff that you've been doing. They're working, they're helping to a point where you say, okay, I've been in ashrams, meditating, doing my silence, doing this, doing that. My mind is still busy. What's really happening here? So the curiosity, the mind wants to discover itself, the curiosity of this organism that runs your life brings you to this conscious awareness where you want to do more, where you want to understand more. You want to understand, what are you run by? What's running you? You already know when a situation happens and you happen to react, or you happen to victimize yourself, or whatever the situation that you've been in, but you've done it so many times where the mind gets really curious and saying, why am I doing it again? Why am I there again? Right? And that's, if you step into consciousness, you'll get really curious and you will want to kind of take it apart, take this puzzle apart and see, why am I doing it again? That's the consciousness wanting you to lead, to understand, so you can get something out of it, so you can learn something from the experience. If the mind steps into that, oh, I'm doing it again. How much longer I can do it again? I don't believe I'm doing it again. See the difference? And that's the pattern. It needs to do it that many times till it collapsed and it's done. Including fear, right? You might be afraid of something and not allowing yourself to do certain things because you're afraid of, for instance, you need to move to another country or to another city because there's a better job opportunity. But you're so afraid to leave your friends, everything here. So you know there's a job opportunity, and then there's the loss of everything that you might leave and move on. The mind gonna play this game with you. It's gonna go back and forward, back and forward, back and forward, back and forward. Eventually, you have two choices. Either you're gonna be stuck there, and when you're stuck somewhere and you're not moving forward, guess what the mind does? It starts destroying you. All right. It's getting bored, it's getting sick, it's not stimulated, it's not growing, it's not evolving. If it's not growing, evolving, it's dying. That's it. That's what it does. But eventually, when you get sick and tired of the fear, there is a moment, if you've been afraid of making this move for a year, 2 years, for how long, whatever it is, maybe it's a week for some of you, or just a few hours of being afraid. And then the mind collapses. Okay, damn it, I'm doing it anyway. You see, that's when the mind collapses and something else opens up. Same in a relationship. You can be stuck in a toxic relationship for the longest time, being stuck, hoping there's love out there, but you're not letting yourself experience anything because you're stuck. The desire, you see, the mind desiring for more. It wants more. At the same time, it's afraid of more. But the awareness can see that. The consciousness can see that I am playing that game. I'm creating a desire, and now I'm fearing of my own desire. You see what happens? And that's when your mind gets busy. I have desire. Now I'm going to be afraid of it. 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. I'm busy. How come I'm doing it? How come I'm not doing? The awareness comes in and says, oh, you see what you're doing? You're creating desires, and now you're afraid of your own desires. See, this is the difference between mind and awareness. What happens when awareness leads? With time, with practice, just like untrained dog, you need to break your mind like you're breaking a dog. Like you need to train it because the mind used to do whatever, and you are kind of following the fears and the intimidation of the mind. With the awareness and the consciousness stepping in, you're aware that the mind been leading and you're putting a stop to it. When you're putting a stop to it, most of you that I worked with, when you decided to put a stop to it, it was in a place of live or die. It was like, that's it, I'm done. I don't care what it takes. I just need to do it. And you're really stepping, it's like you're tired of your own mind and you know there's more, and you're willing with everything in you to jump into that everything more. And you know that working with me wasn't easy. It's a very intense 10-week one-on-one. Everything have happened. I saw so many situations with people going through very intense transformation and sticking with that and pushing yourself through and watching how your mind want to hold you back. And then always to the other half of the 10 week, I'm like, wow, somebody blossoming and experiencing completely something new, and their mind opens up and they're experiencing different life and new reality. And then you look at yourself and you look at the past, who you were 10 weeks before, and you go, why did I do that? Why did I choose that? Why was I stuck in that? And you kind of yourself can't even understand why you were in a situation that made you suffer. Why did you allow yourself to suffer through this situation? This is what happens when the awareness leads and mind follows. Those of you who've been through the 10-week intensive, you can just revisit and remember who you were before you came into the 10 weeks and who you were after, and how with each session you got closer and closer with the mind, with the awareness, with the consciousness. You start understanding how everything works. And the rest is practice. And the rest is staying aware. And the rest is coming to the monthly classes, listening to the monthly classes. And the rest is knowing that I don't want to be that way anymore. There is another way. Okay? Any questions? Good. I have a few questions from you guys that I have wrote down and I want to read through them. Hold on. Let's see where they are. Okay. Okay, so this one they're really good questions that I'm really proud that you're asking questions at that level. Renata, I can see a pattern now. I notice when I'm about to react, but sometimes I still react anyway. It's like awareness is there, but it's not strong enough. Why does that happening? And how do I let awareness actually lead instead of just to observe, right? That's a very good question. Even that you're still reacting. You already done this work, but the pattern is still there. You're gonna react as many times as you're going to react to the reaction, right? So for instance, you reacted and then you go, like I said before, oh, I don't believe I'm doing that. And now you're bad mouthing yourself and then you're criticizing, you're putting yourself down. The mind knows it can hook you here. The mind knows it can get your attention. So the mind will create that story again because it still didn't finish milking all of your attention again. So the way to stop it is stop reacting to the reaction. Even if you already slip down and there is reaction, be aware, catch it whenever you catch it, and move on. If you're going to stay there, that story going to be expanding and the mind going to take over. Okay? The more you be catching it, the more you be aware, the closer to the awareness you'll be. I mean, you'll be catching it before all the time, just a few steps before. And you can see already in your reactions from before, from 10 sessions, when anything would have happened before, how you were reacting and how you're reacting now. I know you want to not to react at all, and that will be the ultimate, but that's practice. Practice of not reacting to the reactor. All right? It's another one, good one. When I'm in awareness, everything feels simple and clear, but my mind quickly comes in with commentary, especially around decisions. How do I know which voice is to trust without overthinking it? And that's true. When there is decisions made, the mind will come in. What does the mind comes, right? The mind comes with, it wants to protect you. It comes with fear, right? The mind will repeat the same thing. How do you know which one to trust? When the answer comes in and it's like, oh, yeah, that feels good. Yeah, definitely. I choose that. There's no thinking there. They're just, yes, I'm doing it. When the mind comes in, the mind goes, should I? Shouldn't I? Bad, good, safe, not safe. The mind will expand the story. It will go into, and when it's happening, step away. You're not ready to make a decision. If you see the mind is busy, that's not a good time to make a decision. The mind just looking for all the reasoning and all the check marks. Should I, shouldn't I? That's not a place to make a decision. When you're making a decision, all of you says yes. There is no justification why I should and why I shouldn't. Okay. There's one more. I've had a moment where awareness was clearly leading. It felt powerful and grounded. But when suddenly the mind comes back, even stronger, more doubt, more control. Why does it happening right after clarity? I love this question. So the question is, why do you think, guys, it's happening, right? So like I mentioned, the mind also calls the ego, and the ego, it's what you've been made of. It's the way you've been programmed from the beginning. So the awareness comes in with some clarity, and you have this light bulb, and everything feels great. And then the ego or the mind comes in, and it's even stronger. It's the dissolving of the old program that doesn't want to let go. It's the old program that wants to keep you safe. Like in one moment you feel like, yes, everything's so expensive, everything's so amazing, everything's so light, I'm as big as this whole universe. And the other moment you feel nobody, I'm nothing, I'm going nowhere, I'm doing nothing. That's the mind protecting you, because the mind did understood I'm changing now. The mind did understand something new is coming in. The mind did understand transformation is coming in. I'm afraid. Transforming, it's fear. That means something new comes in. You see what I'm saying? Especially in the beginning of your transformation. I remember myself, I went through the hardest time when there was a shift, when there was um, a shift of awareness or the next stage of understanding. I would go through a very difficult time. Everything will just be freezing, and I couldn't understand why it's happening. It took me a long time to understand that it's just my mind protecting me from this new identity that haven't fully embodied itself, because something new coming in, right? If, for instance, you were quite an introvert, right? And you've been working on it, and there's part of you who want to be expansive and big. An introvert, not all introverts are introverts. A lot of introverts are just fear of communication. And there might be very expansive, beautiful being, but they're keeping themselves small because they're just afraid of this showing themselves or sharing themselves, right? The mind will create a story. So if an introvert who wants to share their experience and open up and just be expansive and showing and have full of light, right? There might be this moment, yes, I can do it. Yes, I'm there. Look at me, world. And then this mind will come in and say, you're nobody, you're nothing, stay small, where you're going, it's not for you, blah, blah, blah. And I'm talking from experience, right? So it's a whole identity coming in from somebody who's closed in to coming all out. The mind will create the stories. Absolutely. It will be fearful. Same thing if you've been in a relationship, toxic relationship for the long time, and you kind of gave yourself already permission, you're going to move on. The mind will come up with the agenda where you shouldn't. Moving to a new job, a new country, a new home, a new anything. The mind craves the new and it's afraid of the new. That's what it's happening, right? Those are great questions. I really love those questions. There was a few more, but I just kept those ones. I think the rest of them I answered clearly in the past hour or less that I've been talking here. Before we move into breathing and into meditation, anything else that needs to be shared or anything else that you want to say? Okay. And all right. So if you're watching the recording, it's a good time to pause, go to the washroom, prepare a space where you can lie down and when you can sit up. We're going to go through two meditations. One is sitting up, the other one is lying down. The lying down meditation is holotropic breath. You can Google holotropic breath. You can Google Stanislav Grof and just get familiar as more. I'm going to show you the basics today of both meditations, and then I'll take you to the experience. When you're sitting up, we're sitting with a supportive back, but not completely lying back, just something that will give you some grounding. We hold our fingertips together, turn it upside down, and place it underneath your belly, right? Right where your thighs are, as if it's holding your belly. The eyes might be closed, and we're going to be breathing through your nose, inhaling and exhaling. It looks like that. You will be guided. The next breath will be lying down breath. So I will show it to you sitting up, but you'll be practicing it lying down. You will find a comfortable place. I always suggest have a blanket, a pillow, the body temperature does come down. Have a warm beverage next to you when you're coming next time. And the lying down breath is when you are completely relaxed. Your mouth is open and you breathe into your heart out of your mouth, and it looks like that. Right? Sorry. The mouth will get dry in the beginning, but then the body will adjust. So it's normal for the mouth to get dry. We'll start sitting up. Get yourself comfortable in a sitting position. Feet preferably flat on the floor. Have your fingertips touching together. Bring them upside down, all the way down, down, down on your thighs as if it was holding the belly. And just closing your eyes and take a few breaths in and a few breaths out. Just be present to your breath, present to yourself. Now I'm going to ask you to do something else. Open your eyes and just be aware of the space that you're sitting and see what is real right now when your eyes are open. Notice the space, the doors, the windows, the floor, the roof, what you're sitting on, the objects. Be aware and conscious with your eyes open of what's happening around you. Now, when you're looking at objects or what's happening here, do you have a story or are you just aware? This is a table, this is a couch, this is a window, this is a door. This is awareness. You're aware of the space. Now, if you're looking at the window and you're saying, oh, I might need to change my windows. I might need to wash my windows. My door is not closing very well. My floor feels nice or not nice. Now you're in the story. So you're identifying what is in front of you. That's awareness. When the mind steps in, it tells you a story about what you identified. I just want you to be aware of that because that's a great example of what's happening in life. You might have an experience that is just an experience. Somebody said something, you said something, you went somewhere, you came back, but the mind brings in a story. And that's the difference between aware of what happened or stuck in the loop of the mind about what happened. Keeping your eyes closed again, shutting your eyes down, and just be aware now what you truly feel at this moment without the mind whispering and telling you what actually it thinks it feels at that moment. And right now you can feel that your body being supported and you're sitting on the surface. And that's true and it's real. Your mind might give you a message, I'm comfortable, I'm not comfortable. You might need to readjust yourself to be comfortable. Instead of sitting in the story, What should I do next? Continuing breathing and relaxing. Feel your whole body sitting on the surface. Be aware of your head, relaxing your head. Relaxing the back of your head. Relax the front of your head. Relax your eyes, your ears, your nose, your mouth. Relax your neck and your throat. Relax your shoulders and your arms. Relax your chest, your belly. Relax your back and your spine. Relax your hips, your knees, your ankles, all the way down, down, down to your feet. Feel the feet resting on the floor, inhaling and exhaling. Be aware of your whole physical body. There is no story about the body. There's just an awareness about the body. I'm aware of my physical body. I am in my physical body. This is my physical body. I'm aware. I bring awareness to your tailbone and your crown. And just feel this extension between your tailbone and the crown. Now imagine that there is an energy pool between your tailbone and your crown. Now you know the mind brings its imagination right now. Oh, I have a pool that runs between my tailbone and my crown. You're giving the mind next instruction, and you're telling the mind, now I want you to ground this energy pool down, down, down into Mother Earth. Now you're telling the mind, I want you to extend this energy pool up, up, up into Father Sky. You see and feel this imaginary pool of energy between Earth and universe that runs through your physical body. It's an imagination. You're giving instructions to the mind. Imagine that. Inhaling and exhaling. The mind right now listening to you as you're giving it instructions on what to do next. You're breathing in, you're breathing out. You're watching and seeing, is the mind listening or it's creating its own stories? Very often when the mind comes down, it wants you to fall asleep. It doesn't want you to be present and conscious. It's rather you be sleeping. And some of you might be feeling very sleepy right now, which is okay, but still stay aware and present. Now, in this moment, look at the mind. Let it be. Maybe empty right now. It may be busy. It may be curious. Maybe a little bit fearful. What is next? But let it be. Let the mind be exactly what it is. Now be aware of this awareness, this witness, just witnessing the mind. There is the mind, the busyness of the mind that wants to protect you, the mind that's been built for that many years that you've been here on earth in this body. And then this awareness that looking at the mind, looking at its patterns, it's not judging it. It's just informing it. You're informing the mind of its own activities. It says, you see, it's quiet now. There's no need to be busy. Or it might say, you see, you're busy right now, and that's okay too. The witness watching the mind, informing the mind of its own activities, of its busyness, and of its quiet. And in its full presence, you can take any situation in your life where you kept very busy, exploring it, thinking about it, negotiating with it, looking for solution. Any situation. Look at the busyness of the mind around that situation, this outcome, the circumstances. Now bring in the awareness that looking at the busyness of the mind around that circumstances that have been built in your life. Let the circumstances be. There's nothing to resolve, nothing to change. Just let it be. Allow the mind to accept everything as is. There's no need to protect, no need to change, no need to transform, no need for anything. Just accepting things for what they are. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Noticing what's happening to your whole being when there is accepting, when there's nothing to change, nothing to transform, just being. And the mind is just observing, just present, just here, inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. And in this quiet place, that's when you can start asking the question, what do I need to know about it? What do I need to learn about it? What is my next step? And just be aware how quickly the answers are coming, how clearly the situation showing itself for what it is. That's what happens when the awareness leads. The more you practice, the better you be at that. Inhaling and exhaling. One more inhale, one more exhale. Now slowly and gently bringing yourself back to today and now. Now, as gently as you can, move yourself to horizontal because we're moving into the next breath. We're moving into holotropic breath. Get yourself comfortable on the floor, on the bed, wherever you get the most comfort. Pillow blankets are always welcomed. Maybe you need a sip of water just before. And stretch yourself, cover yourself. Hands beside you. Mouth slightly open. Now let's breathe into the awareness. Aware of this body that is breathing through the mouth into the heart. Inhaling through the mouth into your heart, exhaling through the mouth. Inhale into the heart, exhale through your mouth. Inhale into your heart, exhale into your mouth, and relax even more. So breathing in and breathing out, keeping your mouth open. Say to yourself, I'm aware. I am awareness. I am consciousness. I am presence. I am higher self. I am aware. I am here. I am now. Into your heart, out of your mouth. Into your heart, out of your mouth. Into your heart, out of your mouth. See if you can keep the mind present while the awareness is here. Noticing how your body feels when you're aware. Notice what's happening to the mind. Does it want to fall asleep? Or is it just agitated, waiting for all of it to be over? Whatever there is, just witness and keep breathing into your heart, out of your mouth. I'm aware of my peaceful mind. I'm aware of my agitated mind. I'm just aware. Nothing to fix, nothing to change. I am pure awareness. I am just aware. I'm aware of the surface that supports my body. I'm aware of every inch of the body that's touching the surface. See if you can truly dive into this pressure points in your body that is touching the surface. You might find some points in your body that are not completely touching the surface, and some points so deeply touching the surface. I'm aware. Be aware of the angle that you're lying in. You might be flat on the floor completely, or you might have support of the pillow or the bed. I'm aware. I'm just the awareness. Now be aware of your life. I'm living my life as an awareness. And notice what happened even as I said, be aware of your life. Was there a story around it? Was there a resistance? Was there an excitement? Was there fear? What happened when you heard, be aware of your life? Can you just be aware of life? I'm aware of my life. I'm aware of the one that is living this life. Now really witness this being that is living this life day to day. Do I live my life from the mind or from the awareness? Can I create more space to just witness? Can I create more space in my life to be conscious? Can I create more space in my life just to be? Keeping your mouth open, into your heart, out of your mouth. I am the awareness that's living this life. I'm that consciousness that consciously present. I am that higher self that is always there. Just notice of the rules. What is the role is your consciousness playing? What is the role that your mind playing? What are the roles that each one of them playing? And what rules they are applying to those roles? Who's present more? Is the mind present more or the awareness present more? You can see how almost the mind trying to dominate the space, act out, keep your attention in the mind, in the busyness of the mind, through prediction, through fear, through anticipation. Because when it's busy, it knows it's present. I'm doing something. I'm protecting me. I'm calculating my next step. I just want to make sure that everything gonna work out. Then the awareness comes in when the mind gets tired of being on its guard and says to the mind, just relax, just be here. Everything is okay right now. The mind is almost like this overwhelmed child in the arms of its parent, collapses, relaxes, trusting, till it starts again. And the awareness always comes with so much kindness, with so much patience, with so much presence, just holding the mind so it can feel safe, so it can trust again. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. Witnessing the mind, trusting the awareness, trusting consciousness, even if it fears it, even if it doesn't know it. With each practice, we're trusting it more and more and more. Inhaling and exhaling. One more inhale. One more exhale. See as if you can almost cradle the mind while it's resting so deeply in the awareness, in the consciousness, in that presence. You can say to the mind, you are presence, you are consciousness, you are awareness. Inhaling and exhaling. One more inhale, one more exhale. With awareness, with presence, with consciousness, deepen your breath, coming back to now with awareness and presence, fully grounded in your body, remembering the traps that the mind creates sometimes out of fear. And there's no reason to react, just holding space so it can relax. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Slowly and gently bringing movement to your toes, to your fingertips. Possibly bending your knees, moving them closer into your belly, and moving your knees side to side. And turning on your side, your right or your left. Maybe moving to a child pose if you're familiar with that. A few more breaths, grounding your head. Yeah. Very gently and slowly coming back into seated, into today and now. And welcome back to presence, to today and now. You can kind of tap yourself on your shoulders, making sure that you hear some parts of your body, maybe on your thighs, your sit bones, rub this tailbone, your belly. I am present. I am here. I am now. Good job. Good job. Okay, guys, so we explored a lot today, the difference between the mind and the awareness. And the main lesson that I want you to take from here is the practice. The practice in your everyday life. When is the mind? When is the awareness? Who is leading right now? The mind is like this child that throws tantrum. And the awareness is the presence of this adult who comes and creates structure and says, I'm here right now. Just breathe. We're okay. I'm present. You're not expanding the story. That's what happens when the awareness leads. Stay with your aha moments. Listen to this class several times. If you have any questions, please send them my way. Right? Any questions? Anybody want to share anything? Okay. Yeah.
I just want to share, Renata, that I can't seem to hear this too often. Your reminders of staying present, being the witness. It definitely is work. Practice, practice, practice.
Yeah. And interesting that you are saying that. I cannot hear enough of these reminders as well. Because the mind is still busy. And there is a moment where the mind less busy. If you can see who you were a few years ago or before the 10th session and who you are right now, you can see that the mind a whole lot more calmer, a whole lot more manageable than it was before, right? And I think mentioned that last time in our last class also, because when you look at the destination, you feel like you haven't done anything.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look how far you have come, you're thinking, oh my God, I've done so much, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that's exactly what those reminders are for. That's exactly what those classes are for, to remind your mind, where's the mind? Where's the awareness? Where's your consciousness? I'm here to support you, for those who have done the 10 sessions, for those who are new, to give this mind a new openness, a new understanding what is consciousness, so we can all live conscious life, so we can all be present as much as we can, right? Somebody like I mentioned, Eckhart Tolle and Byron Kate, they were blessed with the quiet of the mind when completely got quiet, and they're in their consciousness or awareness all the time. And some of us are still working towards that place and coming closer and closer all the time. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome. We're meeting next time, March 29th, Sunday. Any questions, send them my way. You guys are awesome. Listen to it several times, and I hope to see you next time. All the best.